Most people think greatness is a gift. He proved it's a habit. Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers who ever lived. And what he discovered about excellence, about becoming great, about actually achieving what you say you want, it's the complete opposite of what most people believe. Because people think you either have it or you don't. You're either naturally talented or you're not. You're either born great or you're not. And if you weren't born with it, tough luck. But Aristotle said that's wrong. Greatness isn't a gift, it's a practice. And what you practice every single day is what you become. So let's go back. About 2300 years ago, ancient Greece. Aristotle is studying everything. Human behavior, excellence, what makes people great at what they do. And he's watching patterns, seeing what actually creates success versus what people think creates success. And most people around him believe in natural talent. They believe some people are just born better, born smarter, born stronger, born more virtuous, and if you weren't born with those gifts, you're just out of luck. You'll never be great. But Aristotle watches actual great people, and he sees something different. He sees that natural talent matters less than people think. What actually matters is what you do every day. Your habits, your practices, your consistent actions. He watches musicians. Some are naturally talented. But the ones who become masters, they practice every day, hours and hours. The talent helps, but the daily practice is what actually creates mastery. He watches athletes. Some have natural advantages, but the champions, they train every single day. They don't just show up when they feel like it. They show up regardless. And that consistency, that daily commitment, that's what creates excellence. He watches virtuous people, people with good character, and he realizes they're not just born good. They practice being good. They make good choices consistently, day after day, year after year, until being good becomes automatic, becomes who they are. And that's when Aristotle has his breakthrough. He realizes that excellence isn't an event. It's not something that happens to you. It's something you build. Through daily habits, through consistent actions, through practice. He said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Read that again. You are what you repeatedly do. Not what you think, not what you intend, not what you wish you were. What you actually do, over and over. That's who you become. And excellence isn't about one great moment, one great achievement, one great performance. Excellence is a habit. It's showing up and doing the work every single day. It's the accumulation of small actions repeated consistently over time. This changes everything. Because if excellence is a habit, then anyone can develop it. You don't need to be born special. You just need to be consistent. You don't need natural talent. You just need to daily practice. You don't need to be gifted. You just need to build the right habits. But here's the problem. Most people don't want to hear this. Because habits are boring. Habits require discipline. Habits mean doing the same thing over and over, even when you don't feel like it. Even when it's not exciting. Even when nobody's watching. People want shortcuts. They want the secret. They want the hack that makes it easy. They want to be great without the daily grind of building greatness. And Aristotle says that's not how it works. That's never how it works. You become a great writer by writing every day. Not by talking about writing, not by reading about writing, not by waiting for inspiration. By actually writing. Every single day. That's the habit that creates the skill. You become fit by working out consistently, not by buying equipment. Not by planning workouts. Not by following influencers. By actually showing up and doing the work. Every single day. That's the habit that creates the result. You become a good person by making good choices consistently. Not by thinking good thoughts. Not by having good intentions. Not by believing you're good. By actually doing good things. Every single day. That's the habit that creates the character. Aristotle breaks this down further. He says, virtue is a habit. Being courageous isn't about one brave act. It's about practicing courage in small ways every day until being brave becomes natural. Being honest isn't about never lying when it matters. It's about telling the truth in small things consistently until honesty becomes automatic. Every virtue, every excellence, every skill, it's all built the same way. Through daily practice, through consistent repetition, through showing up over and over until the action becomes part of who you are. He also says the opposite is true. Vice is a habit too. Being cowardly is practicing avoidance every day. Being dishonest is lying in small ways consistently. Being lazy is choosing comfort repeatedly. You're not born these things. You become these things through daily choices. And that's both terrifying and hopeful. Terrifying, because it means you're responsible. You can't blame your nature, can't blame your genes, can't blame your circumstances. What you are is what you've practiced. What you do every day is creating who you're becoming, but it's also hopeful, because if habits create you, then you can change yourself by changing your habits. You're not stuck, you're not limited by birth. You can become anything you're willing to practice consistently. Now here's where Aristotle gets really practical. He says starting a habit is hard, because it's unnatural at first. It requires effort, conscious thought, discipline. You have to force yourself to do it. And that feels wrong. It feels like work. But if you keep doing it, if you repeat it enough times, something changes. It becomes easier, then automatic, then natural, then part of who you are. The thing that once required effort now happens without thinking. That's the power of habits. They turn effort into automaticity. They turn choices into character. They turn actions into identity. But only if you stick with them long enough for the transformation to happen. Most people quit before this happens. They try something for a few days or weeks. It's still hard, still requires effort, still feels unnatural. So they quit. They think, this isn't working. This isn't who I am. This is too hard. But Aristotle would say, you're quitting right before the breakthrough, right before the habit takes root, right before the effort becomes natural. You're stopping at the exact moment when persistence would pay off. He says, building excellence is like building a house. You can't lay one brick and expect a house. You lay brick after brick after brick, day after day. And for a long time, it doesn't look like much. Just a pile of bricks. Just effort with no visible result. But if you keep going, if you keep laying bricks consistently, eventually you have a wall, then a room, then a house. Not because of any single brick, because of the accumulation, the consistency, the daily practice. That's how excellence works. That's how habits work. That's how you actually become great at anything. Now, let's make this personal. Because you're probably waiting for some breakthrough moment. Some event where you suddenly become who you want to be. Some transformation that happens to you instead of through you. But Aristotle is telling you, it doesn't work that way. You don't wake up one day excellent. You wake up every day and practice excellence. And after enough days, enough practice, enough consistency, excellence becomes who you are. You want to be a better person. Start making better choices. Small ones. Every single day. Not perfect choices, just better than yesterday. And keep doing that, consistently, for months, for years, and watch who you become. You want to be successful. Start doing successful things. Small things, every single day, not huge achievements. Just productive actions. And keep doing that, consistently. And watch what you build. You want to be healthy. Start making healthy choices. Small ones. Every single day. One workout, one good meal, one good night's sleep. And keep doing that, consistently, and watch how your body responds. This is the secret Aristotle discovered. There is no secret. There's just consistency. There's just daily practice. There's just showing up and doing the work even when you don't feel like it. Even when it's boring. Even when nobody notices. Because the sum of those small daily actions, repeated consistently over time, that's what creates everything great. That's what builds excellence. That's what transforms you from who you are into who you want to be. But it requires patience. It requires discipline. It requires doing the thing even when you're not seeing results yet. Even when it still feels hard. Even when you're not sure it's working. Aristotle says, trust the process. Trust that consistent action creates consistent results. Trust that daily practice builds skill. Trust that repeated choices create character. Even when you can't see it happening. Even when progress feels slow, because it is slow. Real change is always slow. Real excellence takes time. But it's also inevitable if you stick with it. If you show up every day. If you do the work consistently. The results are guaranteed. Most people won't do this. They'll try for a week. Get impatient, quit. Try something else. Get impatient, quit again. And spend their whole lives jumping from thing to thing, never staying long enough to build anything real. But you can be different. You can understand what Aristotle taught. That excellence is a habit. That greatness is a practice. That who you become is determined by what you do every single day. So stop waiting for the big moment. Stop looking for the shortcut. Stop hoping for natural talent to kick in. Just start practicing. Start building the habit. Start doing the thing you want to be good at every single day. And trust that Aristotle was right. That consistent action creates consistent results. That daily practice builds excellence. That you are what you repeatedly do. You're not born great. You become great. One day at a time. One choice at a time. One habit at a time. That's the path. That's the power. That's what Aristotle proved 2,300 years ago, and it's still true, still waiting, still available to anyone willing to show up consistently and do the work. Subscribe for more ancient wisdom that actually builds greatness.